Welcome back to another Daily Wisdom from Proverbs. Today we're in Proverbs chapter 23. Yesterday in chapter 22, we started this section, this major section of Proverbs called the 30 Wise Sayings. We read the introduction, we read the first five wise sayings, and we'll start in verses 1, 2, and 3 for saying number 6. Here it is. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, observe carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you're given appetite. Do not desire his delicacies, for they are deceptive food. In other words, sometimes people will try to win you over with gifts and food and try to get you to come over to their side on something. And if you're the kind of person who can be tempted by a bribe like that, or being tempted by people giving you things, it says it's better if you figuratively put a knife to your own throat, because you're going to be easily drawn away from the right things. Wise saying number 7 is found in verses 4 and 5. It says, do not toil to acquire wealth. Be discerning enough to desist. When your eyes light on it, it is gone, for suddenly it sprouts wings, flying like an eagle toward heaven. So a financial saying, a financial proverb. And this says that money can disappear just like that, and we shouldn't work just for money. We shouldn't put all of our hope and all of our energy into just the accumulation of wealth. Wise saying number 8 is verses 6 through 8. It says this, do not eat the bread of a man who is stingy. Do not desire his delicacies, for he is like one who is inwardly calculating. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. You will vomit up the morsels that you have eaten and waste your pleasant words. More warnings about the kind of people you hang out with, and examining why people are being nice to you. What are they trying to get from you? Are they trying to win you over to their side on something? Or are they trying to lure you away from something you should be doing? Wise saying number 9, appropriately enough, is found in verse 9. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the good sense of your words. Wise saying 10 is verses 10 and 11. Do not move an ancient landmark or enter the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer, that's God, their Redeemer is strong, and he will plead their cause against you. So it's justice for the poor here. Wise saying 11 is verse 12. Apply your heart to instruction and your ear to words of knowledge. That is a wise saying. Wise saying number 12 is verses 13 and 14. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. If you strike him with the rod, you will save his soul from Sheol, from the grave. So this goes back to what we were talking about yesterday in training up a child in the way he should go and disciplining children. And it says here, don't be afraid to discipline your children because it's for their good. Wise saying number 13 is found in verses 15 and 16. And it says, my son, if your heart is wise, my heart too will be glad. My inmost being will exult when your lips speak what is right. That's tied very closely to the last one we looked at. It's that when children do go in the right direction, when they go off in the direction that their parents point them in, when they train them up in the way they should go, and they actually do obey the Lord, it says not only does it make the children glad, it makes the parents glad as well. Wise saying number 14 is found in verses 17 and 18. It says this, let not your heart envy sinners, but continue in the fear of the Lord all the day. Surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off. Sometimes it's easy to envy people who are sinning, but this says hang in there. God has a hope and a future for you if you follow him. Wise saying number 15 is in the following 3 verses, 19, 20, and 21. It says, hear my son and be wise, and direct your heart in the way. Be not among drunkards or among gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and slumber will clothe them with rags. Again, be careful who you hang out with. Wise saying number 16 is found in verses 22 through 25. It says this: "Listen to your father who gave you life, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Buy truth, do not sell it. By wisdom, instruction, and understanding, the father of the righteous will greatly rejoice. He who fathers a wise son will be glad in him. Let your father and mother be glad. Let her who bore you rejoice." It's an exhortation to children, both young and old children, that says when you obey your father and your mother, you bring them joy. And it's telling us to honor our parents, and because there's joy that comes in that for us as well. Wise saying number 17 is found in verses 26, 27, and 28. It says, "My son, give me your heart, and let your eyes observe my ways. For a prostitute is a deep pit, an adulteress is a narrow well. She lies in wait like a robber, and increases the traitors among mankind." A common theme in Proverbs is avoiding adultery, avoiding the prostitute, avoiding the woman who would pull you away and cause you to stumble. Now, wise saying number 18, this is where we're going to end today. This is a large section, and this is almost like a sermon on what we looked at a few days ago in chapter 20, verse 1, where it talks about alcohol. And so the rest of this chapter, verses 29 through 35, deal with alcohol and the dangers surrounding it. So let's look at this. Wise saying number 18. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaining? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? Sound familiar? Have you ever met somebody like that? Well, here's the answer. Those who tarry long over wine, people who drink too much. Those who go to try mixed wine. Do not look at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup and goes down smoothly, very tempting. But in the end, it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. And then here's what happens to you. Verse 33, your eyes will see strange things, and your heart will utter perverse things. And you'll be like one who lies down in the midst of the sea, like one who lies on the top of a mast. And they struck me, you will say, but I was not hurt. They beat me, but I did not feel it. When shall I awake? I must have another drink. And that's the sad state of affairs for people who fall into the allure of alcohol, as it says in 20 verse 1, who get led astray by it. And it's a sad picture and needs no additional commentary from me. God's word is very clear on this. So that's daily wisdom for today as we continue through these 30 wise sayings, and we will wrap it up tomorrow in chapter 24. God bless you.